Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. A few months ago I watched an ad from Renault Bank, and since then I started investigating to get to know what is it exactly that Renault Bank is. Actually, if you haven't seen the ad, it's pretty inspirational and I must say that very nice. That's actually also why it piqued my curiosity to investigate a bit more. The link to it will be just here above and also down below in the description if you want to watch it. And I'm not playing it here right now because firstly it's a 1 minute long ad, and secondly it's also in Spanish, so I let you watch it if you are interested. And in today's video what I will be doing is I will first of all be explaining what is exactly Renault Bank and the different products that they offer. And then, most importantly, I will be answering the questions of, is it really worth it, and would I put my money into Renault Bank? Firstly, and just to clarify in case someone wasn't sure, yes, Renault Bank is owned by the car maker Renault, which is a French company. In fact, it is part of their RCI Banks and Services, which is the financial company owned by this Renault group with more than 50 years of experience. And although mostly they have been centered towards leasing and financing activities, they have also now expanded into new products, which is the example of Renault Bank. Currently, Renault Bank is present in 6 different countries, which include France, Spain, Germany, Austria, the UK, and Brazil. And today I will be centering into which are the products offered by Renault Bank in Spain, but I must say that the products that they are offering here are pretty similar to some of which they offer in other countries. So hopefully, even if you watch this video and it's targeted towards Spain, if you're planning on opening an account in one of these other countries, it is also useful. Before launching in Spain at the end of 2020, they were already present in the other countries I mentioned, and they already had 400,000 clients, around 18.6 billion euros in deposits, which when I say billion, I'm referring to the American billion, not the European one. And also any money that you have inside it is covered by the French Deposit Guarantee and Resolution Fund, which covers up to 100,000 euros. This means that if you have up to that amount inside the Revolut Bank, you don't have to worry about the bank going bankrupt because you will be able to anyways claim that money back. Now let's talk about the products that they offer, and on that they have two different ones. The first one is called Cuenta Contigo, which the translation would be something like count on you. And the other one is called Deposito Tu, so deposit you, and both of these are offered 100% online. Starting first with the Cuenta Contigo, this is a deposit account that gives you an interest rate at the moment of 0.3% annually. This means that if you deposit into this account 1,000 euros and you don't touch them for a full year, you would receive 3 euros gross. This is 3 euros gross because in Spain, you would have to pay from that a 19%, which will leave you with 2.43 euros net for you to keep. The good thing about this account is that you can make as many withdrawals and deposits as you want, so there's no limit. I mean, if you need the money, you can just withdraw everything, and then if you have some spare money, you can just deposit it inside the account again, and then simply the interest rate that you will get will be based on the average amount of money that you have in the account over the course of, for instance, a year. The interest then paid are done on a monthly basis, and there are no commissions nor fees to sign up and to use their services, and also the sign-up process is very similar to when you have to sign up for other online banks or maybe a broker if you invest in stocks. Another tricky thing is that this Cuenta Contigo is a bit of a peculiar account because you need to have it linked to another Spanish bank account from a different entity. And this is done because all the deposits as well as withdrawals that you will get from the Renault Bank will be coming from this other bank entity. And that's also something I must say, that at least at the moment in Spain, Renault Bank is just offering services of savings and deposits accounts, and that's it. It's not really like a traditional bank where you would have just a debit or credit card, you would be able to receive the salary and so on. Maybe they will have this in the future, but at least at the moment they are just offering deposits or savings account, as we could call it. Then any transfers of money that happen from Renault Bank elsewhere are all for free. And finally, if you wish to cancel any of their products, you can do so also for free because there are no costs of cancellation. This is basically it for the first product, the Cuenta Contigo. And now let's go into the second one, which is called Deposito Tu. So as we said earlier on, Deposit You. and this one is a fixed term deposit of 2 years with a 0.5% annual interest rate. And this means that if we use the same example as before, so investing 1,000 euros or leaving 1,000 euros into this savings account, you would earn 5 euros gross per year. Since you need to keep the money there blocked for 2 years, this means that at the end of the 2 years you would receive 10 euros in this example gross. Applying the same retention rate we mentioned earlier on, which is of 19%, we would be left with 8.1 euros net. In this case, the payment of the interest is done every 3 months instead of 1 month that we had the previous one, and it has a minimum deposit of 500 euros and a maximum deposit of 1 million euros. And to open this, you first need to have a Cuenta Contigo and then transfer it from there. This means that if you actually want to put money into this deposit account, you need to first of all transfer it from your normal, let's say traditional bank account into the Cuenta Contigo, and then from the Cuenta Contigo to this Deposito Tu, which is, yeah, in my eyes a bit too many steps, but that's how it is. Then for this one there are also no fees nor commissions applying whenever you want to transfer or of maintenance of the account, no fees whatsoever. The next important point to look at before signing up for any service you are not very familiar with is to look for reviews online. In this case, what I did was to go to Google Play Store and there just see which was the score that the app of Renault Bank had. And in this case, they have a score of just 1.5 out of 5, which this is honestly very, very bad, considering that to leave a review in the Google Play Store, you need to at least give 1 star, so it doesn't allow you to put 0 stars. So just keeping this in mind, this is a terrible score. And some of the most common issues that are mentioned there is that basically the app crashes all the time, that it doesn't recognize the pictures with the phone when you're trying to maybe send them information. You have also problems signing in, so different aspects here. And then another relevant aspect is that they started offering a 0.65% interest rate for the first account, the Cuenta Contigo, and then a 1% for the fixed account. And as we know now, it's just of 0.3% and 0.5% respectively, so they have lowered this significantly. They have cut them basically in half, or in the case of Cuenta Contigo even less, so even more than half. And I guess that they did this to kind of attract more customers at the beginning, but now as they started getting more, I see that they have reduced them. Probably if interest rates do go up and the Central European Bank also increases this, they will be able to offer some deposits with better returns, but that's how it is at least at the moment of recording this video. Then comparing the interest rates that they are offering in Spain with those of other countries in which Revolut operates in, for which I have taken Germany and Austria. So in Germany, the equivalent of the Cuenta Contigo is paying you a 0.1%, and the other one, the Deposito Tu, 0.35%, and for Austria, it is of 0.125% for the Cuenta Contigo and of 0.4% for the other one. And looking at this, we see that in Spain, it looks better than any of these other 2 countries, at least in terms of, let's say, returns offered or interest offered. And we also need to consider though that in Spain there's only possibility for the fixed term deposit to have it of 2 years and with the return of 0.5%, but both in Germany as well as in Austria you also have the option to have a fixed term deposit of 5 years, so longer period, but also obtain higher interest rates than the ones in Spain. So I think it was, if you were holding it for 5 years, you were getting a 1% interest rate or something like that in Germany. So that's something also to keep in mind. Before going into my overall thoughts and opinion, they actually have several social media accounts in platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and so on, where they publish all kinds of content, some of which is a bit more just a picture with inspirational and maybe just a bit of advertising of the products they have, and some others are articles where they tell you how does a deposit work, how to use a credit card, or how banks operate and different kind of things. And another funny thing is that in their YouTube channel they have literally just 6 videos published, and these 6 videos are the exact same video, which is basically the ad, published once and once again. So every 1 to 2 months they just decide to publish it again, which is basically like having no content really there. I just thought it was funny. And then through social media, they also do raffles to win some prizes, of course, if you follow them, and to try to get more awareness. And for instance, they recently raffled just a snowboard, and the one before that was just a basket full of different products. Also, now looking at the Renault Bank, but from a company's perspective, I think that this new product they introduced has been a very smart move for the company, because essentially they are just getting loaned money from the different customers. I mean, we saw it earlier on in the figures, more than 400,000 different customers, and they have in deposits over 16 billion euros. And all they have to pay for this amount is between 0.3 and 0.5 annual interest rate, which is extremely low. I mean, it doesn't even beat inflation. And I'm sure that then they use all of this money and they use it for their different services to finance their activities. And maybe they are able to provide leasing, financing with this money. And they are for sure getting much better returns than what they are giving you as a client. Now, yes, after everything that we have seen, what are my thoughts on Renault Bank, and will I be putting any of my money in it? For me, the answer is very clear and simple, and it's a clear no. I mean, the returns that they are providing, or the interest, are extremely low, just 0.3, 0.5%. They for sure don't beat inflation, and for the amount of money that I would put in them, I would just be getting maybe 10, 20 euros a year, 30, 40, but I mean, it's still a ridiculous amount. Just with the amount of time that it would take for me to open an account with them, to then have to transfer the money from one account to the other and so on, it's simply not worth my time. At least that's my opinion for my own situation again. But if I had to choose from one of the two products that they are offering currently in Spain, from the Cuenta Contigo or the Deposito Tu, I would certainly go for the first one, the Cuenta Contigo. Yes, the interest rate is lower, but you have the flexibility of being able to withdraw and deposit money at any time, which this is something that I find very advantageous, rather than just keeping your money blocked for 2 years just for 0.2% extra of interest rate. But the question you might have right now is, what would I do instead if I'm saying that I wouldn't put any of my money inside Renault Bank? And actually it has nothing to do with Renault Bank, but in general I don't really like savings accounts. If you're getting just less than 1%, for me, it's really underperforming. And I mean, with inflation running as hot as it is, it's certainly not protecting you from anything. Of course, it's better than keeping your money inside your bank account and not doing anything, but for me, it's not an option that I would take. What would I do instead? Well, there are several different options, and in my eyes, also quite conservative. You could start by just buying into an ETF or an index fund, replicating one of the major indexes, for instance, the S&P 500, which historically has given a return of between 8 to 10%. So you could just start putting money into that every single month, and that would be an almost guaranteed 8 to 10% without you doing anything, which is much better than the 0 point something percent they were offering. Another option, which is even more conservative, would be to buy state bonds, which at the moment are giving around 2% of interest yearly, but historically they have given between 4 and 6%. I'm not a big fan of that, but that would be an even more conservative option than the one I just mentioned. And finally, the maybe more risky option, but again, I find it pretty conservative, would be to buy blue chip dividend paying stocks, like for instance Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, and all of these different ones, which just in the dividend that they provide, not in the share appreciation, so if the share price increases, but just in the dividend, it's very easily you can get between a 2 and a 5% yearly yield. So here again, you would be getting significantly higher returns with, in my eyes, very limited risk. Of course, they're nothing less risky than just putting your money inside Renault Bank, but also the returns that you are getting are very poor in my eyes. So for me, when I look at the risk-reward ratio, any of the options I have just given you now is better than putting your money inside Renault Bank. Anyways, what I do want to mention is that I'm no financial advisor, and you should make your own decisions when it comes to investing your own money and deciding whether you want to keep it in your bank account, put it in Renault Bank, or in any of the other options I mentioned. So I take absolutely no responsibility whatsoever. Again, as I already mentioned, anything is better. So putting your money inside Renault Bank is better than keeping it in your bank account, although I see better options out there. With that said, these were my thoughts on Renault Bank. But now, what about you? What do you think about Renault Bank? Do you already have an account with them? Are you planning on opening one? Please let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed, and as always, see you next time.